Coach, it's time for us to get smarter. Some really key plays in the game. You always go offense, defense, special teams. Let's go through this offensive play here.
Sure. Well, we got a run and play here with Saquon where we're trying to get to the perimeter of the defense. And we do a little bit of shifting. In this particular case, we know that their front is going to kind of stay stationary, try to get better angles for our blockers. We motion the tight end back to give him some eye candy. And 18 is going to try to pin Jerry Hughes here just to get the play started. And then anything that comes back across the other, in this direction, 17 is going to try to hit. In this case, they just all jump up in front, so he really doesn't have anybody to block. We got two pullers out in front with our tackle and with our center. And once we can get Saquon to the perimeter with some space, it's always a good thing.
Now, when you look at the angles here, you out-leverage them. As soon as you take your receiver down inside and pin that defensive end in, you get your tight end on a defensive end, and then your receivers are sealing all the angles, and then your pullers are around. It's big on small, but all the angles you have just by sealing that edge, right?
Absolutely, and you get them out in space here. Back in the old days, they could run and cut through the legs of the offensive lineman, but the rules have changed. So, again, another good play to get Saquon on the edge, in space. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders stacked up inside. Wan'Dell's really doesn't want to block behind the ball, so he wants to look for anybody coming this way. Really doesn't have much to do. Can really add on to the depth of the defense here.
But when you go back to that really quick, Coach, the key also, you get a defender that comes down inside. Number 2 goes down inside just enough for your center to get the edge on him, and now it's just pushing.
That's exactly right. And they stun it inside. We had a perimeter play on, again, from the shotgun with a little bit of formation and eye candy with the tight end coming back just to hold this backside player. Pretty good design here by Bobby Johnson and Kafka, and, created a big play. Usually big plays result in some type of points for your offense, but to change the field position of the game is huge. This play on the defensive side, we're 2nd and 25, so advantage obviously the defense when you're in this situation. A big play in the game. They're driving down the field. It's a 11-point game at this particular time in the fourth quarter, and they had just gotten a penalty to bring them back to the 30-yard line, roughly the 30-yard line, and just good team defense right here. So all we're doing is rushing our 4 defensive linemen. Our 2 tackles inside being Leo and Dex, and then our 2 perimeter defensive ends. And we're playing a split safety coverage behind it. So, in this case, Mills drops back, and, he's kind of looking to take a shot down here on a double move on a Dory. And I'd say this has played really, really well on the back end of reading the quarterback, the release of the receiver. But it all starts, as we know, football always starts up front. So before we look at the sideline view, I think it'd be better to look at the end zone view first, because this is really the reason why it happens. So we're in a 4-man front, kind of in a wide 3 technique, almost lined up over the tackle, and Dexter's just stemming just a little bit. They set the protection over here, which they have a chip player on Kayvon, and a really one-on-one with Dexter, with the guard. And anytime you can get pushed in the middle part of the pocket, that really is the biggest effect, or has the biggest effect in the pass game, regardless of what happens on the back end.
So you talk about push.
Yeah.
And the thing, I think, in the defensive room, and I'm sure you'll see it, when you take this all the way back, the explosion, watch the guard's head go back.
Yep.
He just almost bench presses him, and that's when you know he got him, because he's like literally shaking him as he walks him back.
Look, it's all about pad level, leverage, hand placement, the ability to use your hands, shed blockers, and like you said, here's a great example of Dexter, really locking the guard out, causing some movement, and then using his length and an arm over to really get into what we call the paint. And anytime you can get in the paint, that has a tremendous effect on the quarterback, which in turn has a tremendous effect in the passing game. And then if you look at it from the sideline, I think we're doing a good job. We're off the receivers right now. We're going to let them throw it in front of us and go up and tackle to make it a 3rd and long situation. But again, you can see Dane right here. He's reading the release of the receiver. He's back to the quarterback. And they had just done something like this the previous play. And they came back to it. And It's really good play by both. You know, if Dane doesn't get it at the door, he's got a chance to get it here.
Sure.
But to go up and high point the ball in this situation, create a turnover in the fringe, give the ball back to our offense, just good team defense. You know, we got it really covered all the way around. If they throw this check down, we go up, we tackle it. It's third and, you know, whatever, 20, and then we're playing the next down. Here we got a kicking game example. You know, it's our punt team, and they were a really good special teams unit, a good return unit. And this was a point of emphasis for us all week of really trying to change field position and not let their return get started in their punt return game. And they're kind of in a hold-up mode where they're vicing, you know, Pinnock up top as a gunner, and essentially vicing down here McLeod and getting a 2-on-1. But it starts with protection first, which they're not really trying to rush. They're doing more of a hold-up to try to get the return going. I think Jamie, you know, does a great job of hang the distance. You know, he's got great hang time, good distance, puts it where we want to put it in terms of the direction for the coverage unit to get down there. And it's always good to see three guys unblocked to the ball on a return. And that being Cam, Julian, and then Pinnock runs through on the vice.
Field position is key here, but again, you've got a gunner down that's really holding things up so that those three guys can come in, and you get, I believe it's Cam that replaces here.
That's exactly right. Yep, Cam replaces, and again, they're just they're running down their lanes, and again, whether they're defeating blocks or have beat a vice, knowing where they're supposed to be and contain, it was just a good team play. You know, no return, and then on top of that, just the finish of the play, Tay's coming in, and, you know, is the runner down? Is he not down? Is he on top of the pile? You know, of trying to get the ball out, which we actually do, but they ruled it that the runner's, you know, progress was going forward, and they stopped it here.